Hey you, welcome back to the channel. And guys, today we want to review Black Mirror Season 1, Episode 3, The Entire History of You. And guys, I'm really starting to like this show. I can now see what people meant by this is a masterpiece. This is a very artistic show. Just about every episode that has been seen, well, actually everyone, has been left with this open-ended question where the viewer is left to interpret, what the show means and how it ends. And this episode was no exception. This episode, like the other two, do deal a lot with technology and how technology can blur the lines of reality. If we reflect back on our last few episodes of season 1, National Anthem, and 15 Million Merits, each episode dealt with a screen. Each episode dealt with a different perception of reality from our own to a degree. Although I felt National Anthem was more plausible and a plausible event that could happen in our world, it did still feature a lot of the dealing with the technology and media and social media and how information could be distributed. And this episode deals a lot with the distribution of information. This is touching more on an Orwellian nature type theme, where now the privacy of information, whereas the other episodes dealt with media, getting media out to the masses, it dealt with how our lives are lived, on with this technology. And now this one deals more with the issue of the privacy of the technology and what it means as the world gets smaller, as we all kind of become integrated into this technology web. What I found interesting too is how they're using this technology. At first, when the episode opens up, I'm thinking it has to deal with ideas like the brain net, and idea proposed by the physicist, the theoretical physicist Michio Kaku, who talks about the brain net, where you can kind of interact, with your brain only, and use the internet through your brain. This isn't quite that, but it's very similar, which they use a piece of technology that they call the grain. And the grain pretty much stores all your memories, everything you see. You can later reflect back on them, observe, things that, much like what we got to see with our main character, Liam. He's in a job interview, basically. He's an attorney. And, he's reflecting back on how his interview went. And if he thought he was going to get this job, and if he felt that the reviewers of his application were being forthright. And amongst other things, that we got to see the scene with him going through the airport security, and they're looking through all of his memories, his past memories for the week. And through that, they're determining if he's a security risk and things of that nature. And also with Liam being an attorney, it was also very interesting in that it was the right job, like the perfect job for the subject matter, in that attorneys use a lot of data information to prove their cases, to win their cases. And I would imagine in this particular type role, that being an attorney is a great job, because it's very easy to just, use the data from your memories to, as they're made public information, in order to prove cases. So we got all of that with this. But whereas this is all about technology, we know that Black Mirror is a play on human psychology and connection with technology. So the technology is one thing, and how humans interact with the technology and what it means to be human, and what it means to, psychologically to uh, uh, make use of this software is what gets explored a lot in the Black Mirror. And this is, what basically happens with our main character and his wife Fee, who due to Liam's job and Liam's life, their relationship seems to have went through a strain at some point, and it hasn't been a very trustworthy, good relationship. And now that's problematic in a world like this, where privacy of information, thoughts, even memories, are accessible, that you cannot hide your thoughts and you can't share your thoughts. And so we get to see what is the use of this technology to expose an affair between Fee and an old lover of hers by the name of Jonas, whom she tries to downplay as just some friend, some old friend. And so, it's not long before our main character here, Liam, figures things out, and he's able to use this technology, as we got to see, to, expose the truth of what's going on with him, between him and, or rather Fee and Jonas, who are trying to hide this, and trying to move on from this. And obviously, Liam is going over the edge as he's finding out several things, from Fee's infidelity to the fact that his own child may not be his. And so, what I'm finding in this episode to be some of the main directions of what may have been the cause of the breakdown of Liam and Fee's relationship. Some people are saying that they felt it's the technology, and some disagree with that. I'm on the side that disagrees with that, because I do see technology as a helpful thing to human beings. I see technology as no more than a tool. And in many cases, I've heard where technology is the problem to humanity, which I disagree with. I don't think technology is the problem to humanity. I think human psychology is, and that I look at human technology similar to how I would view money, and that is both are tools of use, and that they do at points emphasize or magnify things that we already are. So in this case, this technology did expose and magnify and make accessible and also make known a problem that had always existed in Liam's and Fee's relationship. And that's what I took from this episode as far as the technology, and not that the technology was the problem. Now, the open-ended part I found of the episode, as in all Black Mirror episodes, was at the end, where we get Liam and he's actually gouging out the what's called the grain of technology that is linked to human beings, that allows you to access the memories, and through their eyes, whether it's some type of contact lens connected through the grain or projected through the grain, they're able to see their memories, see their past actions in this recording through the visual, through their visual senses. And so again, you have a screen. You have a visual screen. This time it's a screen that's actually part of the biological bodies of the viewer. Whereas in the previous episodes, there were literal screens where the walls of beings, prism or cube, was the screen. And if you go back to National Anthem, the first episode, there was actual flat screens that they use to view social media and for the entire world to view the act in which the prime minister had to engage in. But so again, so Liam has a screen. It's part of his visual sensory organs, and uh, when he removes the grain, um, the idea is that comes to mind to some is that he's removing the grain in order to forget his wife's past infidelities, to maybe just forget her altogether. As we get to see in the final scene, you don't see Fee, you don't see the child who may or not be his biological child, and you only see past memories through the grain that he's is become very difficult for him to watch, and so now he's gouging the grain out of his neck in order to not have to view that anymore, to forget that life. Now, there have been two ideas in my mind, and I think going around about what that may have meant. It could have just meant that he was trying to forget that life. But it also could have meant something a bit more heinous, and I'm kind of leaning towards that, and I'm going to tell you why my theory is kind of leaning to that, and it could have been to cover up his crime in this Orwellian type nature situation, where everything's viewable and everything done is, can be seen. So that might be part of why he may have covered up. So the other idea again was that he just wanted to forget. So let's get into a little bit why I thought maybe it might have been a case where he may have covered up, maybe even possibly murder in a case. And that is because there's the scene where he's actually attacking Jonas, and he's very violent. We know that Liam is kind of over the edge. He's very violent. He just goes over the top. So this is a person who may have some type of anger management issues, because he's doing all this without any definitive proof. He does this before it's even revealed to him that his wife is committed this infidelity. So he doesn't really know. He doesn't have any actual proof yet to just go over the edge the way he does and force his way into Jonas' house, breaks a bottle, hits him on the head, and is threatening him. And what else I found interesting, why it might be possible that Liam went as far as even maybe murder, is because Jonas's wife had her grain. Was without her grain, and I'm not 100% sure why. I don't know if it was an accident of some sort. I forgot the exact dialogue as to how she lost her grain, but without her grain, she was unable to record the assault that was going on with Jonas and Liam, and so she's on the telephone trying to explain things without concrete evidence, which is what they have in the world, of this nature. And so I was under the impression that because I thought that was so significant, they showed that scene, that there was this type of idea that many of the things that Liam was doing wasn't able to be proven or seen. There was a deletion of Jonas's, files of his wife. There was all, and Jonas's wife couldn't record the incident, and then later, now. Liam has destroyed the grain, so they won't be able to retrieve that information as well. And there's no signs of Fee or the baby. So it's kind of open-ended where Jonas goes from there, why the grain was destroyed, and what happened to Fee and the baby. So that's why I said on the open-endedness part of it, is it that it's more so that Jonas just want to forget, want to cover crime, or maybe both. But again, it's left open to our interpretation. And I am again starting to see the masterpiece part of the Black Mirror series. I was very entertained by this one. I think where Black Mirror may have made a mistake. Me personally, my personal opinion is that doing the national anthem video first or episode first, and I don't know if that's to say if they should have done it at all, or if maybe it should have been further along the series. I think an episode like this one, The Entire History of You, may have been a better start, or maybe even the 15 Million Merits episode. I think any of these two would have been a better start to the show, or maybe even did first this episode, The Entire History of You, or 15 Million Merits first, then did National Anthem, then did one of these two to kind of shift it to let us understand kind of what was going on. Because with National Anthem, it really was a situation of like, what in the world is going on? What is this show supposed to be? And if you're like me, who watch these shows without a synopsis because you want to be surprised sometimes, you would have watched the National Anthem and you would have really been, you would have understood the episode, but you wouldn't have understood what type of genre of show it was. So, basically, that's the only issue I have with Black Mirror at this point. Other than that, these last two episodes have been awesome. They've been excellent, and I look forward to reviewing the next one, which I believe will put me in about season 2 of the show, as this first season was actually only three episodes. And if I understand correctly, the later seasons, they get more episodes, or the last season they did, I think it's going to get like a full 12, or it's getting like a full 12 or something like that, or even more. But anyway, guys, that's my review on the Black Mirror episode, The Entire History of You. Guys, if you like content like this, don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time, take care.